What's up, guys? We just, me and my boy Kaiser just finished a podcast talking about business, mindset, and a lot of other stuff that I think you'll get a lot of value from. So check it out. So, in business and life, and these are my thoughts, but I think some of them, there's a variety of things that keep people from being successful. But I think one thing is pride is one of the biggest things that I've noticed. I feel like a lot of people are too proud to learn from other people, or they want to portray this certain image and act like they know it all when in fact they don't. And this is across all realms, whether it's in the gym or in business, but I think that's one of the biggest things I've noticed. What about you?
Yeah, I definitely think that's at the top of the list. The Japanese have this, it's a proverb, and it's shoshin, and it means having a beginner's mind. And I think the people who've truly developed a beginner's mind, it's in every facet of their life. Whether I'm trying to learn how to be a better husband or a boyfriend, a better father, a better businessman at the gym. Those people who go in that are students of the game, like true students of the game, those guys will always get far because there's always someone out there that's smarter than you, richer than you, wiser than you. And if you could just pick their brain and learn from them, how much time can you save? How much heartache can you save? How much headache can you save?
100%. And we were even talking briefly last night at dinner, but about like our mindsets of being able to, mold where we're needed and what positions we fit best and how we work together best. And, I came from a very successful company. You have a very successful company that you've put together, and I'm learning from you, and I'm open to learning from you. I never have the mindset of like, hey, I know it all, because I know there's things that you know that I don't, and there's a lot of shit that I know that you don't, and it's just it's there's a way of life. You can learn from everybody. And we talked briefly about Andrew Tate yesterday, and he even said it, like, there's a lot of things I know, but at the same time, if Mike Tyson comes to me and like wants to teach me how to box, I'm not going to say, fuck you. Like, I know what I'm doing.
100%. That's actually one of the biggest reasons when we first met and we were talking about partnering up together, that thought process. And every time I've been here, I've asked you probably more questions than you wanted at some point. I'm like, hey, how do you guys do this? Or what do you guys do this? Man, I can't wait to take this back because yeah, no shit. Like, you guys are winning. You guys are doing a great job. Why the hell would I not ask questions? I don't got this thing figured out. So, I think one other thing that really hurts people long term, and I've seen this, and I'm sure you can attest to this, most people cannot stay the course.
Nah.
They cannot stay the course, man. The moment things go up, they're riding that wave and they're feeling great. The moment things go down, man, they hit the bottom. And the problem is the results follow. And you can see it with a lot of people who are very, very emotional and don't have a stoic mindset. When they're up and they're winning, the results are insane. And they're riding, man. They're rolling. But the moment shit goes bad in their life, in their business, they lose a sale, they lose some money, someone quits on them, something happens, you can see it in their performance. They're not the same person. And I just think there's so much value in the individual that can stay the course.
And I think, you said stoic mindset. I think that's key, because you're going to go through so many things in life, whether it's, I've had injuries in the gym that have set me back, that have been devastating. I've had things in business and people steal, or, we had a fine that cost us a lot of money, whatever it may have been. And there's things like that where I could have thrown my hands up, but those are the times where, you might be on a downhill course, but that's when you're learning the most. And that's what people don't realize. And as long as you learn from that and keep pushing, you're going to go right back up that hill. So that mindset of knowing this is just God testing me, or this is a learning process for me, and I know that all this is going to do is make me better. That's what you have to look forward to. Is, they say it's darkest turning into a new day. Midnight's the darkest point, and that's when a new day starts. So you have to think of it like that. And I think another big thing is not comparing yourself to others. We had this situation last night we talked about briefly. Is I feel like too many people compare their success to others, or where they're at in life compared to others. And you have to remember, everybody is on their same, or their own path, their own destiny, their own goal. Like we're we're at different levels in our life. You know, like you're ahead of me. You're 33. I'm 38. So in my mind, you're ahead of me. You got some years on me. You got me beat. So, but I can't look at that and be jealous. I have to focus on my life, or if somebody has more than me, same thing. I can't look at that and focus on that person, because that's going to make me lose track of my thought process, my goals, what I'm focused on, my team. So I have to have my head down, stay in my lane, and know that these are the things that I want to succeed. And anybody else that's along for that ride, great. But if you're not on my team and you're over here and you have more than me or less than me, I can't focus on that. I'm all about bringing people up. But people that are above me, I want to learn from those people, but I'm not going to hate on them. I just have to respect them and know that we're in different lanes.
100%. So there's this, they asked Kobe a while back, the late, great Kobe Bryant. They asked him a while back, they're like, hey, who's better, you or MJ? And that's always been the question, right?
Yeah.
And he said something so profound. I'll never forget his answer. Because someone's also asked me this question about one of my good friends and mentors in the game. And my answer is the same based off him. And Kobe responded, he said, there would be no Kobe if there wasn't an MJ. And I think there's just so much value in that answer, because I think you should have someone who you consider a worthy rival. But a worthy rival is someone who forces you to step your game up because they force you to look in the mirror. But it's not because you're in comparison with them or you're competing with them, because you're not. You're not competing with them. You're competing with yourself, right? And I know that sounds cliche, but I do believe there's so much value in having someone that is doing more or has done more or has accomplished more, but not in a form of jealousy, but in a form of motivation where it's like, you know what?
Correct. And the mindset.
Yeah.
Of knowing this has been done before, so it's possible.
100%.
And, it goes all the way back to, and I can't remember the guy's name. You might remember it. But the first guy to ever run the 4-minute mile, they always said it was
Roger Bannister.
Yep. They always said it was impossible to run a 4-minute mile. And then once he did it, I think there's been like 1,300 something people.
You're slow if you can't do it at this point.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I can't do it. I'll never do it. I'm always going to be slow. But it's been it's been a big game changer just because the thought process changed for those people, and they realized that it was something that was possible that had never been done before. One guy did it, and it broke it open for everybody.
Yeah, we just had that happen in our business. We had a guy who sold $500,000 worth of roofs last month. The seemingly impossible is now possible. And watch what's going to happen. And mark my words, we're going to have someone who does $600,000, and then someone who does $750,000, and then we'll have someone who does $1 million in a month.
It becomes the new norm.
Someone's got to do it.
Correct.
Records are meant to be broken, right?
Yep. And I remember same thing here. I remember the first time we had one guy. This was a few years back when prices were much lower per square, but hit 300,000 in a month, and it was like that had never been done before.
Yeah.
It was unheard of. And then now everybody is hitting 300,000 a month. Like that's the normal thing. Like goals used to be 100,000 a month. Like you got a bonus if you hit 100,000. Now it's like that's nothing.
What do you think the biggest differentiator is between the guys that do these things, the 500K guys, the 300K guys, versus, the guys who may be selling 50 to 80K? Like, there's a few things, sure, right? What do you think's at the top of that list?
I think one is the hours that you're willing to put in.
Straight up.
But then I think two is the knowledge base. And, a lot of people will beat their heads against the wall trying to figure out wherever they're getting stuck at, whether it's getting a contract signed, whether it's upgrading customers, whether it's getting the roof approved, whether it's signing the roof or knocking on doors, but they're getting stuck somewhere and they're not learning how to overcome it. And it's always the customers. It's a bad neighborhood, or I've had just a row of assholes, that don't want. No, it's not it. It's you. You have to sit down and figure out. So it's kind of back to that self-reflection. You have to sit down and figure out every customer I get is doing this or is not letting me do this. So why? And how can I prevent that in the future? And that's what so many people don't want to do. They want to blame the customer, but you didn't set it up right or tee it up right to where you didn't have that objection to overcome.
Look, man, I read this book probably 12 years ago or something of that sort. It's a book called 13 Fatal Errors That Managers Make and How You Can Avoid Them. It's a book that we read a lot in the fitness industry by Stephen M. Brown. I'll never forget, ever, 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 the first chapter of that book is Refusal to Accept Personal Accountability. Mm-hmm. I read that chapter, and it changed my life forever. And this was like probably one of the first true books I ever read and I like took to heart. And there's a quote in there that I want to share, and it's kind of a long quote, but I'm going to say it anyway because it's just embedded in my brain. And it's referred to as the failure formula. People fail in direct proportion to their willingness to accept socially acceptable excuses for failure. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say it one more time. People fail in direct proportion to their willingness to accept socially acceptable excuses for failure.
100%.
And the reality is this, to what you're saying. A lot of people in this game and in many industries have a lot of socially acceptable excuses.
100%.
Right? Oh, it's a bad neighborhood. Right? Oh no, it's the customer base over there, right?
Yep.
Oh no, it's the weather.
He's cheap. He wants 3 estimates.
Yeah, there's everything. Meanwhile, there's someone who on the other end who's like doesn't give a shit and is like, job's got to get done, and I'm the person to get the job done.
Yeah.
Period. And there are no excuses. So to your point, I actually think that's a huge determining factor. I think if there was another tip that I could maybe give someone who's, regardless of the business that you're in, I think the fastest way to truly just like expedite your success, find the people that are at the top and befriend those people. But here's the thing. Those people will only allow you to befriend them if you're willing to work as hard as them.
Correct.
Because there's that old saying, misery loves company,
Yep.
but so do winners. You and I are both part of a mastermind and paid many thousands of dollars to be around other winners.
Correct.
And that confirms and validates winners also want to be around winners. And they'll even pay money to be around other winners.
Yeah. And it's exactly right. I feel like a lot of it is you want to cut the bullshit, and you don't want to be around, whether you want to call them losers or leeches or whatever fucking name you want to put on them. But there's so many people that will just complain or be negative or have that mindset, and I don't want to be around it. Me and you can, come across a problem or an issue, or whether we're out driving or whether it's business or whether we're in the gym, we're going to figure out how to fix it. We're going to problem solve it. And I feel like so many people will be driving home, and this is just my analogy, we'll be driving home and hit a roadblock, and instead of finding a different fucking way home, it's like they just want to sit there and wait for that roadblock to clear. And I'm like, no, figure it the fuck out.
Yeah.
There's another option.
Yeah.
So in business and life and the gym and whatever it is that you're doing, there's so many roadblocks that you're going to hit and come across. You can't just put the car in fucking park and wait. You have to figure out a different way home.
Yeah. Yeah. There's another great book on that we just read as a team, Who Moved My Cheese? And in that book, I'm certain you know, and everybody knows it, but one of the mice, the 2 mice, Sniff and Scurry, if I remember right, they ran into obstacles, the cheese was gone, and they're like, all right, fuck it, we got to keep moving. Like, we got to go find our cheese, right? Like, we got to eat, we got to survive. And then there was Hem and Haw, and I can't remember which one was which, but one of them eventually took off and was like, all right, I got to keep it moving. And then the other one just stayed there for days and months and and people do this all the time, right? They run into this obstacle or roadblock, like you're saying, and in their mind, it's not like they're dumb because they're thinking, wow, there's a roadblock here. Now I got to go the long ways around, which is going to cost me more time, money, gas, effort. While the other person's like, yeah, it is going to do all that, but it's a whole lot better than staying in front of this roadblock. What the hell am I going to do here?
Yeah, that you don't know how long it's going to be there.
Exactly. And what's crazy is, back to your roadblock analogy, sometimes you go that long route, and sometimes it's a scenic route.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a route of new discoveries, right? You learn a bunch of new shit about yourself. Now you got more time in the car to think. Now you're able to explore different areas and be like, oh, wow, I didn't even know that existed.
You might learn something new.
Yeah.
You might meet somebody new.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize that. And I think that goes back to the self-reflection and knowing what's best and decision to make. And so many people are just, I feel like, content with whatever outcome or whatever society or God or whoever you want to say throws at them. Whatever hand they're dealt, they're just content with it. So whether it's the roadblock they come across, whether it's they get turned down, they have an objection they can't overcome, like especially in the fitness industry. I know we were both in the fitness industry for years, and there were so many objections that I would come across, and you'd always hear different ones. And so every time that I got an objection, I could either sit there and say, well, somebody's eventually not going to have any objections and just going to catch on, or I could sit down and go back to the drawing board and say, okay, how can I change my pitch to where that objection never even comes up? And that's what I did. Every time I had an objection that I couldn't overcome, I either learned how to overcome that objection or how to change my pitch to where that objection was never even an option, and it was just which program is best for you today.
Yeah, there's that old when's the best time to overcome an objection? Before it ever comes up.
Before it comes up.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. It makes it a lot. And you know, going into what we're doing now, we're in construction and roofing, and it's the same thing I tell the guys, like, hey, it's construction, things might happen. Like if we break a walkway light, don't let the homeowner find it. Bring it to the homeowner's attention and let them know, hey, this happened. It is construction. We're going to fix it. Once we get everything done here, we're going to go get your whole brand new set. Confront it head on before it even becomes an issue, because it can get spiral out of control.
Yeah, 100%. And to that note, one of the things we also do in addition to that is we'll let the homeowner know in advance. Look, Mrs. Jones, you know, our intention is to make sure that we keep this thing in excellent shape, and we actually want to leave it in better shape than we found it.
100%.
However, you know, the guys are on the roofs. There are shingles coming down, things of that sort. And God forbid something was to get hit along the way. I don't anticipate it. It doesn't happen often. But if it ever did, just know that we've got it 100% covered and taken care of. And I just want you to rest assured we're going to treat this home like it's our mother's roof or our mother's home.
Yep.
And people are scared to say that because they think, oh, no, it's going to lose the sale. They're not going to trust me. They're going to have more confidence in you, and they're going to respect your honesty. And then, God forbid, when something goes wrong,
They remember.
Yeah. They're like, oh, well, he did. And now they're fixing it.
It's the same thing with nails. People tell people, you're not going to find any nails. I'm
Yeah.
like, the fuck you're not. There's thousands of fucking nails.
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
going to
yeah.
find one. I tell them straight, you're going to find one. And especially after the first rain, there's going to be a couple that come out of the gutter or the downspouts. So do your due diligence, walk around. I'm going to put that homework on you.
Yeah.
Do your due diligence, walk around, and if you don't mind, it's going to be a small little pile, maybe 3 or 4 nails that get caught in the downspout. We can't get them out. Once that first rain comes, it's going to flush them out. So, and they appreciate that. They understand that you're walking them through a process that they're not familiar with.
Yeah.
But when you lie to them and tell them this, you're over-promising and under, and that's something you can't do in any situation, any business, anything in life is over-promise and under-deliver. I always want to over-deliver on my promises.
100%. You used a very important word there, which was education. When I first got in this industry and I was training other people on how to sell, based off what you and I are used to selling, this ain't really sales.
This is easy.
This is easy. Most of this is being funded.
Fucking layup.
Yeah, most of it's being funded by insurance,
Yeah.
right? So, and it's for a home, like their most valuable asset, right?
And if it's not their most valuable asset, something in that home is.
100%, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, but they're so unfamiliar with the process with insurance, most people. Their true fear isn't necessarily trusting you. Their true fear is the unknown. When the unknown is, how the hell does this shit work? I've never been through this. What's happened? Or maybe they had a bad experience. But the best way to sell, especially in this industry and really in any industry, educate your homeowner. Educate them. Tell them what's going to happen. Show them proof. You know, have testimonials, but truly spend the time walking them through the process and every single step of the way. And once you can do that, people feel at ease. They feel a level of comfort. There's a level of trust, and they sign with you all the time.
Correct. And speaking on the level of unknown is like, that is a legit fear. And it's
In
been
life.
instilled in us since we were little. I remember the first day of school, you were always scared. You didn't know what was going to happen, what your teacher's going to be like, who you had in class. The first day of baseball practice, you didn't know who you were going to, you know, it's always been the fear of the fear of getting on that new roller coaster.
Yeah.
And then you do it and you're like, fuck, let's get back on that sumbitch. So it's always a thing just in life. So you're exactly right. The more you can walk them through and give them exact steps of what's going to happen. This is the process that we're going to take. This is the process your insurance is going to take. This is how it's going to go down. We're going to keep you in the loop all the way. They feel like you're letting them in on unknown things, and it just makes them feel more comfortable. You're 100% right. So I agree with that.